Steve, you've had a long and exciting career at KPMG in various leadership positions. There's been, of course, incredible transformation in your industry. Were there any moments along the way where you thought KPMG had a particular strength in leadership position that you were able to reinforce, or was there a weakness? Was there a moment where you're like, we need to really catch up?
There were actually a couple of times, and I'll profile two. The first one was when cloud started to become a thing. Our firm sat back and said, well, what does this mean to business? What does it mean to our clients, our stakeholders? We realized that cloud wasn't a technology conversation. It was a business conversation, that it was going to fundamentally change the dynamics of how businesses actually procured and sourced services. The second time was with artificial intelligence. And when I was vice chair of innovation across all three functions of KPMG, we decided to invest heavily in a relationship with IBM Watson. And the long story short there was we started to pioneer how AI could really disintermediate the status quo in the accounting industry.
Well, there's no doubt about the leadership position KPMG's had in that for a long time. Were there specific implementations for the audit business that you can point to as saying, well, this is where we had a breakthrough?
Oh yeah, for sure. We piloted in three areas, one in our audit business, one in our tax business, and one in our advisory business. In the audit case, we were looking at portfolios of loans. And long story short, without getting complicated, we took months of work down to hours. And before, honestly, as auditors, all we could do is tell our clients, yep, this is a portfolio that's pretty sound. It follows your criteria for quality, and you should have confidence in it. Well, with that kind of technology behind us, we could go from that to telling them, hey, there's some correlations here that you should look at.
In that example, it's sort of a good lens into the broader opportunity with AI and the broader challenge. You get into this discussion very quickly about the quality of the data set. And then, and garbage in, garbage out, the expression people use in the industry. Yeah. How did you filter through all the noise to get the right structured data, the right data sets, the right algorithms to have the positive impact you're trying to have?
Yeah, that actually takes a lot more work. And I think part of your question about time to impact, time of implementation, is the hard work in getting that part right. Otherwise, you produce hallucinations. I mean, you create bad answers with bad data. And AI...
And they're convincing bad answers.
Well, right. Long story short is you've got to spend time doing a couple things. You've got to really understand the data that you need and where you can source it. And it's not just as easy as going out and telling the machine, get all the data associated with, healthcare, because you could very easily start to have problems legally and regulatorily. So you've got to produce a good governance model for how you curate that data. The other thing you've got to do, honestly, is you've got to really think about cyber and security and risk management in the context of how am I going to protect this data from bad acting? How am I going to protect the integrity of the data set from mismanagement? There's a lot of things that have to go into place. And I think KPMG has a role to play with clients in this area in particular, not because we're the infrastructure providers, but because all of the human elements of implementing this technology are the ones that often cause the problems.
Well, and you used a very interesting word there, Steve, was governance, right?
Yeah.
The ideas of creating boundaries, guardrails, guidance around how these things should be done. I mean, I feel like there's a huge role for your industry, but KPMG specifically, but as an industry as a whole, I feel like the requirement there is just the growth in demand has got to be substantial there, and the need is exploding.
Well, absolutely. You think about technology today, right? I mean, you can oversimplify and say, look, about 20% of the enterprise has been automated. And when I say that, I'm talking about back office and I'm talking about ERP and stuff. That's 80% left. Now with generative, what's going to happen is a lot of that 80% is going to get attacked, but not with the IT department, with a democratized workforce that understands how to use technology without code, right? They can talk to a machine or they can ask it a question. They can create application value through a conversation.
Exactly.
And that's going to change the dynamic of technology enablement. But it's also going to change the dynamic of security and integrity and risk management. I think, to your point, we're really, I think in many ways, just starting to realize how pervasive some of the work that we have as a Big Four firm have to bring back to our clients and to society at large to say, here's how you manage those human elements to get it right.
Steve, when you think about the transformation that's needed within KPMG and within your industry writ large, what are the steps that you can see in the strategic roadmap to make that happen? Because it seems like there's a lot to happen there for you to have that visibility and be able to give clients the guidance, but then also make the changes that are necessary for businesses to be successful.
The challenge really is twofold. There's an internal challenge, which is how do we empower our workforce to leverage the tools and to maximize the value that can be created from these technologies in their service to clients. And then the other one is, what do we tell our clients to do to help leverage technology to empower their workforce, to open whole new channels of value they hadn't even conceived potentially before, and build ecosystems around a lot of these technologies that give them access to markets and to channels and to customers they hadn't seen before. And I think those two facets are honestly a full plate, right? Both of them could be full time, but we've got to do them together. And we've got to mature our culture. We've got to mature the way we work. We have to mature the tools and technologies that we use in concert with providing services to our clients, helping our clients travel the same journey. And I think it's actually very legitimizing, because at the end of the day, if you go to a client and you say, listen, I'm going to help you transform your business, but you haven't lived those human experiences and how to transform yourself, it's a whole different perspective.